Good morning. I have the privilege and the honor to introduce you to Christi Hurt, who's going to talk to you this morning about the Carolina Women's Center. As Ron Strauss indicated, the Carolina Women's Center reports to the Office of the Provost under the more than capable direction of Vice Provost Carol Tressolini, who is here. So you may be wondering what in the world I'm doing up here to introduce somebody to talk about the Women's Center. I will get to that in a moment. But I am more than happy to do this introduction. The Women's Center, as indicated, is housed in Academic Affairs under Vice Provost Carol Tressolini, and it exists to promote gender equity across campus, which is a simple but profound and profoundly important mission. The center works with faculty, with staff, with students, with members of the community, and engages in research, outreach, and advocacy, all designed to help UNC live up to the promise of being a place where everyone can come and thrive and grow and learn. Christi is a double Tar Heel who went away for a while but then came home. She is a graduate, 1993 graduate in the undergraduate program, and 1998 graduate of the MPA program. She had close to a 15-year career working in the nonprofit sector at the state, local, and national level, working to end violence against women. She then spent approximately 5 years as an independent consulting doing anti-violence initiatives in organizing and organizational development. She then came back to Carolina to become first the interim and then the director of the Carolina Women's Center. When we began work on renewing and working on the Title IX task force that you are all familiar with, that spent over a year working hard to revolutionize and change the way we deal with Title IX and sexual violence issues on this campus, it was an easy decision to ask Christi to lead that task force. And she did. And she did it in a way that I'm not sure anybody else could have really done. Her leadership, her decision-making, her ability to communicate difficult issues, her ability to listen and understand people, I have found to be unparalleled. I am not exaggerating when I say I'm not actually sure that that undertaking could have or would have been as successful as it was without Christi's leadership. And she's been so impressive in that role, as well as in her role as the director of the Women's Center, that I decided that she just had to be engaged across this campus in the complete spectrum of things that we do in student life. And I was able to successfully convince her to become the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Chief of Staff for Student Affairs, which is why I'm here introducing her today. But we also understood that the Women's Center is not just important as an academic enterprise, but it goes to the heart and the core of everything that Student Affairs does. So she has continued in her role as the director of the Women's Center, which she will do until we are successfully able to find a replacement for her. So she is an absolute rock star, and I am thrilled to be able to present her to you, and I'm going to get out of the way and let her do her thing.
So the Vice Chancellor has made me blush before I even start my presentation. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you all for inviting me here today. It is indeed an honor to continue to serve as the director of the Carolina Women's Center during its transition, and it's been a real privilege to come back to UNC, where when I was an undergraduate, there was no Carolina Women's Center. And so being able to be a part of something that, for me, is new to the campus community and help evaluate how it can be successful on this campus has been just an honor and a privilege and work that I'm happy to be a part of. The Carolina Women's Center is a pan-university center. Oh, I need to flip slides. Hang on. There we are. The Carolina Women's Center is a pan-university center serving faculty, students, and staff across the campus. The faculty, students, and staff across our campus are not a static group of folks. What they need and what they see needs to be done on this campus changes every time staff, students, and faculty change, which is all the time. So the Carolina Women's Center really works to stay on top of issues across the campus that impact gender equity. And oftentimes I get asked exactly what does the Carolina Women's Center do? And depending on the current needs, which we're always evaluating, that changes. But what I want to do is ground you today and talk about what the Carolina Women's Center has been doing over the past few years that the Vice Chancellor began to tell you a little bit about, and where we find our sort of heart and soul in the university. I want to tell you about 2 calls that I typically get at the start of every school year, and this will give you a little bit of an entranceway into what we do and why we do it. The first call I want to tell you about is from a father who called me this fall, having just dropped off his daughter at one of our residence halls for her first year here at Carolina. After he got home, he'd been doing a lot of reading about what was going on around campus sexual assault across the country, and he'd gotten himself very, very worried. And he called me and asked, tell me, what are you doing to help make sure my daughter's safe here at UNC? I'm worried sick. Help me know that she's safe. The second call I frequently get, and this year it came in September, was from a mother of a daughter who had recently disclosed that she'd been a victim of dating violence when she'd been in high school. The family took this very, very seriously, and over the course of her summer at home, had gotten her help and resources and healing support. So they delivered her back to the Carolina campus in a much different place than she'd left it previously since she'd made this disclosure and gotten this support at home. The mother was very concerned that there wouldn't be enough resources for her daughter to continue this deep healing work and called me to find out what we could offer her daughter. In both of these cases, I was able to tell them about the work of the Carolina Women's Center and how we were going to be able to make sure their children had what they needed when they were here on our campus. The Carolina Women's Center sits in the middle of campus efforts to make sure that our community is safe for everyone to thrive. And we're also here to help people get support and services when it's not. And so in both of those calls, I was able to tell our worried parents and all worried parents that we do have programs and services that will meet their students' needs. It's important to note from the outset that the Carolina Women's Center serves people of all genders. Men and women both receive services, support, and engage in our programs at the Women's Center. The Women's Center is focused on gender equity, but we do this work for everyone across the campus in a variety of ways. The 5 main program areas of the Carolina Women's Center are up here on this slide, and I'll talk about them a bit in more detail in the next few moments. We are focused heavily on individual support for survivors of interpersonal violence. We are also working on prevention of all forms of interpersonal violence. We have a very hefty student leadership and engagement program, a faculty scholars program, and ongoing programming for staff across the campus. The violence prevention and response work is some of the work that's gotten the most attention from the Carolina Women's Center over the past few years. Given the current federal context and the needs of our campus community, there really has been no choice. This is what our campus has asked of us, and we have aimed to provide. Our Gender Violence Services Coordinator is now what I call the most popular person on campus. She sits in the Carolina Women's Center. Her position is funded entirely from a federal grant. And she sees students, faculty, and staff on a one-on-one basis to provide them with support and resources in the aftermath of an assault or when somebody is finally ready to talk about an assault that may have happened many years ago. She, and I'm not joking when I say this, has a line out her door. And if you know the rates of sexual violence on college campuses, the current national rates are 1 in 5 women will be affected by interpersonal violence while they're in college. The fact that she has a line going out her door is no surprise. So she does her work to provide that one-on-one sort of moment of support and intervention for folks, and she also provides accompaniment for students, faculty, and staff who want to make reports to law enforcement, seek medical support, et cetera. So she is their person. We also are very active and an active collaborator in campus Haven trainings. And the Haven trainings are really an important piece of our campus work. We train everyone across the campus, whenever they're willing to be engaged, around how to support someone who makes a disclosure. We do this training, and again, for faculty, students, and staff, because anyone can be the first person that somebody actually discloses to when they're talking about their history of violence. We make sure that folks who go through this training have information about resources and connection points so that appropriate referrals can be made, and so that folks who go through that training know the things to say and not say when somebody makes that very, very difficult disclosure. That training is very important to us. Every October and every April, we're highly engaged in Relationship Violence Awareness Month programming, Sexual Assault Awareness Month programming. That's some of our ongoing education and engagement work. And we are also very proud of an emerging program that we're working with sororities right now on a program that nobody else has across the country. This is new just for us. It's called the Delta Advocate Program, where 1 or 2 folks from every 1 or 2 sisters from every sorority have been identified who will get sort of intensively trained around our prevention efforts and our response efforts, and will effectively serve as points of contact in the Greek community for people who need help, assistance, or wonder how they can be working to prevent violence. We are very proud of that program. We do this work because we want to, but we also do this work because there's an increasingly important federal context that we're operating within. You all are very familiar with the requirements around Title IX, the Violence Against Women Act, and the Clery Act that all work together in tandem to make sure that we have support and resources available for people who've been impacted by violence. These federal requirements also require that we have a robust training and education program so that every member of the campus community has training on what the definitions around sexual violence, stalking, interpersonal violence, sexual exploitation, consent, all are. Training every member of this campus community is no small job, and the Carolina Women's Center sits in the middle of those efforts. These federal requirements, of course, also come with penalties, and we, like I said, do this work because we want to, but also because we are being strongly encouraged to do so from the federal level, and the Carolina Women's Center is here to help shoulder that load for the university and work in partnership with the other units that are dedicated to this work as well. Our student leadership and service work is perhaps the most inspiring piece of work that we do. My favorite question when students come to the Carolina Women's Center, I stop them almost at the door if I can and ask them, so before you even come into the Women's Center, what are you hoping to see? What do you want to be in your Women's Center? And over the course of the past several years, we have listened to those students and really gotten out of their way so that they could build the programs and the opportunities that they wanted to see inside the Women's Center itself. And so this list of activities that you see on the slide are really all programs that have been birthed and driven by the students. We have alternative break experiences wherein we dispatch students to Eastern and Western North Carolina to go and do service work in domestic violence shelters, child serving agencies, rape crisis centers, so they can travel and really engage in their home communities around this work. We have students who are dedicated to promoting women's athletics, to working on curricula around people with disabilities and interpersonal violence, doing intensive media discussions, and we are perhaps most proud of our MOXIE project, which is a year-long academic and service engagement project that culminates in students being placed in internships in the community, and they receive a stipend for doing full-time work, really having a chance to put into practice some of their classroom learning. We also work with our faculty scholars. We have faculty across the university in whom we invest who are doing innovative research on women's issues. Over the past 7 years, we've given granting awards to a wide range of faculty, ranging from folks in the schools of public health and education and nursing to folks in the departments of Asian studies, religious studies, and computer science. After supporting these individuals in their research on topics ranging from everything from access to lactation spaces to issues relating to women's bladder health, we support these faculty members in doing their research and then coming back and presenting their findings to the campus. And so we continue to make sure that that work is iterative and giving back to the campus community as well. One of the toughest nuts to crack at the Carolina Women's Center is what do we need to be doing for staff? And the diverse staff needs of our campus are vast in terms of gender equity work, but it really depends on what kind of staff position we're talking about, what those needs are. There's no one type of staff person at the university. We have folks at the senior executive level. We have folks working in facilities. We have folks who are full-time, part-time, and all other sorts of mixes of experiences here. So there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to our staff work. What we have been committed to doing is hosting focus groups and really analyzing what the staff need here so we can build robust staff programming to meet that set of needs. What has really bubbled up for us is that the next issue that has a lot of interest, energy, and traction are issues around sort of multi-generational family needs. Sometimes I think of this as parenting issues, but it's also for our staff members who are working to support elders in their homes or in their communities as well. And so we hear a lot of needs for a resource bank, for example, of what all the different sort of community resources are, campus resources are for people who are addressing these needs. We host the website for folks so that they can go and see what child care is available, where are scholarships, where are lactation rooms on campus. So we try to serve as a hub of information so that people can connect to what we do and what we have here on campus. And we also try to continue to collect the sort of ongoing list of needs so that when we're ready to take action to sort of move the ball a little farther down the field on some of these issues, we are poised to do that because we are on top of what those issues are. This is some of the most important work that we do for staff is that issue spotting across the campus. Staff, of course, also are participants and they're highly engaged in our Haven trainings, and we do provide one-on-one support and referrals to staff on a wide range of issues. Having a women's center is not unique. We are in a good collection of women's centers across the university system, and I'm happy to say that we share resources and engage with the women's centers across all of our friendly neighborhood universities, and they're very strong women's centers that we partner with. The Women's Center is, in fact, very central to the university. In our reporting line to the provost's office, we have a lot of sort of reach and latitude to be able to coordinate and collaborate with campus units in all departments, and that's incredibly important when we're looking at our violence prevention and education work, that everyone across the university be able to collaborate with us and work with us in order to get that information and figure out what these issues really mean in their schools and departments individually and uniquely. We are not duplicative of any other service on campus, but do work in partnership and collaboration with everyone we possibly can. We like that hub approach to our work. As somebody who is hopefully raising 2 future Tar Heels, and they like to think they're 2 future Tar Heels, I am really proud of the work of the Carolina Women's Center, and I like to think that when I'm that nervous parent many years from now dropping off my first-year student here at a residence hall, that the work that the Carolina Women's Center is doing today will be a very big part of the change in culture and sort of the climate and the promotion of health and safety for all of our students. And I rest assured that all of our students here are benefiting from that work, and I look forward to my children benefiting from that as well. With that, I'm happy to take any of your questions. Mm-hmm. Any one thing. I really do think it is a very, very heavy investment in what it means to support all of our staff, faculty, and students on parenting multi-generational family issues right now. There are still miles to go before we sleep in the violence prevention world, but I want to pick something else. And so I would pick an investment in parenting support and family support. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you see a lot of thought back and forth with people to say different things, but it's quite confusing. Can we, do you feel like we can eliminate that confusion and know and study going forward where this vacillates?
Absolutely.
That's critical. That is our responsibility to understand.
Absolutely. And I think the AAU survey is going to give us exactly that snapshot, and I'm really looking forward to that data, because not only will we have good incidence and prevalence numbers, but we will know what the unique cultural dynamics are of our campus and where we can apply our resources, our engagement, to really make sure we're looking at those challenging issues really specifically. When I worked in Washington State and did statewide anti-violence work, there, of course, are all these national numbers that are really helpful. When we actually stopped and did a Washington State-specific incidence and prevalence study, it gave us a phenomenal amount of very specific information that helped us tailor our approaches in a way that no other state had been able to do. I think that that's what the AAU survey is going to be able to do for the campuses that engage. We are going to have specific information that's going to help us apply our resources very appropriately, and I think we can absolutely get that measure.
Last time I asked this question, I was told 100%. What percent, in your opinion, of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, so forth, is related to alcohol?
You mean on campus specifically or in general? So it's going to be really high. I'm going to say I wouldn't say 100, but I'm going to go with 85 or 90. It is very, very high, at least the cases that are reported.
So what are we doing in that regard to tackle that problem, which is actually second?
Under the Provost's guidance and the Vice Chancellor Crisp's guidance, we are going to be working on an alcohol and high-risk substance use sort of a task force as well. And while that task force isn't specifically challenged on looking at the intersection of high-risk substance use and violence, it will absolutely be one of the pieces considered by that task force. And I think looking at high-risk substance use and knowing that one of the outcomes potentially of high-risk substance use is an environment that supports those cultural challenges around violence is going to be a critical part of that work. Mm-hmm. It's a great question, and there is work happening in fraternities. And so while the Carolina Women's Center is a partner on the Delta Advocates Program, the One Act Prevention Program, our bystander intervention work, does have a unique program that's specifically tailored for the Greek community that a number of fraternities have already been engaged in. And that's that work where we're training students about how to step in and be bystanders, healthy bystanders, helpful bystanders when they see situations that could become dangerous. And so that is happening in fraternities.
Christi, are you optimistic that we're making progress? There's been so much conversation, and I'm reminded of an earlier presentation when they say sometimes mediation makes it worse. I don't think that's the case right now, of course, but I'd like to know, someone who's been working, you're talking to people, are we making progress, or are we poised to start making progress that young people, I mean, that's who we're, not just young people, but that's our focus here, are really getting involved in a way of owning this? I mean, what do you see?
I am more than optimistic. I am sure. We are definitely making progress. And again, you know, I tell students, and I teach a leadership and violence prevention class, and I tell students that when I was sitting in their chairs, you know, more than 20 years ago, there was not a campus conversation at all about anti-violence work and about violence incidents and prevalence at all on campus. In merely 20 years, that has entirely changed. So that's one of the hottest topics on campus. And we know at some level just raising awareness can start changing behavior, and I think that that's happened. But I also think that we are really making great strides in making sure that we have a seamless adjudication system that does hold people accountable when bad things do happen, and we are building prevention programs that work in many different communities across campus that will hopefully make sure that these events never happen in the first place. And one of the things we know, and this is the challenge at a big institution, is that in order to really prevent violence, we need to be looking at the unique factors inside each community. And at Carolina, and that's not just one community. That is all of the different sort of micro communities across campus. And so we really are investing, and I think really starting to invest in that really deep work around how we change structures and cultural dynamics and the actual feel of the Carolina community for every student here. And I am sure that that work is not only poised to happen, but starting to happen right now. And that's very exciting to me.
Christi, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for making Carolina a better place.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you to all of you who presented today. Absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much for what you do in Chapel Hill and at the coast.